Happy Friday, Math Ninjas. You should have your FSA folder, and we are on day 10. We are on day 10 for both math packets today. Okay, so go ahead and get that big math packet out. Turn to day 10. I am going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Remember, today we will have some discussion posts. We have our 10 problems. You're doing 2 on your own, okay? So make sure you are on day 10. And this is all with word problems. Some are going to be 1-step, some are going to be 2-step. The great thing about the first page is we don't even have to solve any of the problems. We just have to decide how many steps and what operations, okay? They also give us some great tips when working on word problems. So let's go ahead and read those together before we start today. Read the sentence with the question mark first. This gives students a purpose for reading. So if we look, they really want you to read this part first. Sorry, down here. How many animals did he have? Okay, then it says don't always depend on keywords as they do not always mean what you expect them to mean. We've been working on that. I think we're pretty good at using those keywords plus other clues to help us, okay? Visualize the problem. Make a math movie in your head or draw a picture if you need to, all right? Retell in your own words and discuss the problem situation. Use a letter or variables for unknown information. That's where we throw in that question mark sometimes, okay? Again, these are just tips. Do you have to do them? No. If the way you do it works for you, do it, okay? So let's read the directions because it's a little different on this first page. For items 1 through 5, decide if this is a 1-step or 2-step math problem. It says explain how you know. We'll kind of just talk about it. Then discuss which operations would be used to solve the problem. You do not need to solve the problem. If you want to when we're done, awesome, okay? You do not have to. So where it says explain how you know, that's where we can box our keywords, right? All right, let's get started. Number 1. Farmer Jones had pigs and cows. He had 9 cows. He had twice as many pigs as cows. How many animals did he have? All right. How many steps? Is this a 1-step or a 2-step problem? Think about that. It's a 2-step problem, right? So here's how we're going to do these. If it's a 2-step, we're going to write 1, 2. If it's a 1-step, we're just going to write 1. So from here on out, when you do the ones on your own at first, before we check them, this is how I want them to look. All right, so then let's think about what's the first step. All right, well, we know he had cows. He had twice as many pigs as cows. He had 9 cows, sorry. Twice means what? Multiply times 2. So our first step is to multiply. But then it asks, how many animals did he have? Well, we know he had 9 cows, right? He had twice as many pigs. Now they want to know how many there are all together. What would the next step be? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Write it down. It would be adding. Okay? So now moving on, especially for that discussion post today, this is how I want it to look when you type in your discussion post, okay? All right, number 2 we are doing together. There are 73 children on the playground. Okay, so as I'm reading my word problems, just like you should be circling, boxing, and underlining, right? 32 of them went into the school. How many students were still on the playground? Is it a 1-step or a 2-step? Write it down. It's a one step, right? And what are you going to do to figure out how many students were still on the playground? Was there anything that helped you know? There's 73 children on the playground. 32 of them went into school. That's not a keyword that we printed out on our keyword list. But if 32 of them are going into the school, what are you doing? What does that mean? Are we adding more? Are we taking away? Are we breaking apart? What are we doing? We're subtracting. So next to number 1 for number 2, you should have written a minus sign. All right, you are going to do number 3 on your own. Circle it and write a DP. Remember, when you post your answer, I want to either see 1, 2 with the symbols you'd use, or just 1 with the symbol. Okay, I'm not even going to read it. We're going to keep moving on. Number 4, Antoine had 21 baseball cards and Lizzie had 7. How many cards do they have all together? As I'm reading it, you should be circling, boxing, underlining, and then thinking about 1 step, 2 step. What are you going to do with those steps? Go ahead and do it now. All right, well, let's see. If Antoine had 21 baseball cards and Lizzie had 7, how many cards do they have all together? That's a 1 step, and you are adding. Did you get it right? I hope so. All right, number 5. Bailey had 21 stickers. Blake had 7 stickers. How many more stickers did Bailey have? 1 step, 2 step, what are you going to do? All right, well, if Bailey has 21 stickers and Blake has 7, our question is how many more? We should have boxed how many more, and that is a 1 step. And what does how many more stand for? Subtracting. Did you get it right? I sure hope so. All right, moving on to the next page. Now the next page is going to be a little bit trickier. We're going to actually have to solve these now, my friends. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at number 6. Salem had 5 boxes of paint jars. Each box has the same number of paint jars. His teacher gives him 6 more paint jars. Now he has 41 paint jars. How many paint jars were in each box? Okay. Go ahead and take a minute and solve that. All right. Think about this. Was this a 1 step or a 2 step? All right, well, let's see. Salem has 5 boxes of paint jars. Each box, what does that mean? Multiply, has the same number of paint jars. We don't know how many, right? But then his teacher gives him 6 more. 6 more. So we know we're going to have to what? Add, right? Now he has 41 paint jars. So it's kind of like this. 5 times, we don't know, plus 6 equals 41. Now this one might have been tricky for you, but guess what? Number 7's the same. So I'm going to really help you with number 6. Maybe you already have the answer. If you do, kiss your brain. If you don't, it's okay. All right? So we're going to kind of work backwards. If at the end Salem has 41, That's because his teacher gave him 6. But what if we take away 6? That's going to help us figure out the mystery number and what it would equal times 5. So go ahead and do step number 1. If you haven't already, and you might have done different steps, that's fine. What's 41 minus 6? Okay, well, there's more on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. 11 minus 6 is 5. Bring down the 3. Oh, does this make more sense now? 5 times blank equals 35. Do you see that answer choice? 5 times what equals 35? How many paint jars were in each box? 7. You should have picked 7. Okay, now guess what? Number 7 is just like number 6. So I want you to use the strategies I use to help you solve number 7. Are we ready? Juan has 3 packages of markers. Each package has the same number of markers. His sister gives him 4 more markers. Now he has 28 markers. How many markers were in each package? Okay, these ones, guys, you might have to pause to solve the problem. That is fine. Remember, give yourself that minute if you need it, okay? All right, hopefully you have solved it. If not, push pause. Let's think and let's work. So R1 has 3 packages of markers. Again, each package has the same number. So we know he has 3 packages. We know each stands for multiplication. Do we know how many are in each package? No, that's where we can put that in. But then what happens? His sister gives, that stands for plus how many more? 4. And then now he has how many? 28. So let's work backwards. Let's start with the whole number that he has. How many did his sister give him? 4, right? So we're going to get rid of those 4 to see how many he had before sister gave him some. So what is 28 minus 4? 24, right? So now we have 3 times blank equals 24. Do you see that answer choice? What is it? You should have picked 8. Yes, I hope so. All right, 2 more together, and then I'm sending you to do 1 more on your own. Let's go ahead and look at number 8. Very important. We're paying attention to all the information on the chart, okay? The table shows the number of bottles Mrs. Green's class recycled each week. Okay, so we've got our weeks, we've got our bottles. The class has a goal of recycling 250 bottles by the end of week 4. Do we know week 4? No. How many bottles must they recycle in week 4 to meet that goal? All right, is that a 1-step or a 2-step? That's a 2-step. Go ahead and pause the video, solve it, push play when you're ready. All right, so we know the goal is 250, right? Well, we need to figure out where they're at. How many more do they need? How many bottles must they recycle in week 4? So we are adding 70 plus 45 plus 60. Is that what you did for step 1? I hope so. All right, so 5 plus 0 is 5. Then if we look over in our 10s, we've got 6 plus 4, which equals what? 10. And then we've got 7 plus 10. So together we have 175. Now, their goal is 250, right? They're at 175. Can we subtract to help us add here? Yeah. So what would step number 2 look like? All right, well, this is step number 2, 250 minus 175. There's more on the floor. We have to go next door and get 10 more. 10 minus 5 is 5. 4 minus 7, can we do that? No, there's more on the floor. So again, we have to go next door and get 10 more. The 2 turns into a 1. The 4 turns into a 14. 14 minus 7 is 7. And then 1 minus 1 is 0. So you should have gotten 75. And remember how we write 75. We write our 7, bubble it in. We write our 5, bubble it in. All right, hopefully you are rocking these 1 and 2 step word problems, my friends. One more together, then you are on your own. Maria's family set a goal to see how far they could walk in 8 days. Maria walked 2 miles a day for 8 days. Her family walked a total of 57 miles. How many miles did the rest of her family walk? All right, pause it and solve it. All right, we don't know how many her family walked, but we can figure out Maria's and then use that information with our total to figure out the family's mileage, right? So Maria walked 2 miles a day for 8 days. What are you going to do with that 2 and that 8? You're going to multiply, right? 2 times 8 equals what? You should be screaming it so loud because you should be a master of multiplication by now. 16, right? So now we've got 16. And it looks like this, right? 16 plus we don't know what equals 57. So can we use subtraction to help us add? Absolutely. 57 minus 16. Hopefully that's what you had for step 2. If not, go ahead and solve it now. 7 minus 6 equals 1. 5 minus 1 equals 4. You should have gotten a 41. All right, friends, you are also going to do number 10 on your own. That is your discussion post for today. You've got discussion post number 10. That's where you would just write A, B, C, or D. But remember, on that front page, discussion post for number 3, you're going to either tell me one step and what you would use, or 2 steps and what 2 symbols you would use, okay? Also, don't forget day 10 for both packets. Once you've finished your discussion post, then you are grabbing that FSA warm-ups and you are doing day 10. My little ninjas, get to it. All right, such a good job today. I will talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Give me a namaste. Ready? 1, 2, 3.